Principles of sports nutrition.
Chronobiology is a relatively new and unknown science. If you ask someone what their chronotype is, they would look at you like, are you weird or something? So people do not know what this means, and let's talk about that. So chronobiology is a science. It includes the investigation and study of rhythmic patterns established in biological or living phenomena. These patterns influence our mood and emotions, as well as our strength, speed, and athletic ability. In addition to identifying the cause and nature of these rhythmic patterns, which generally occur in cycles, this science, the science of chronobiology, attempts to understand the influence of these patterns on physiological, psychomotor, cognitive, and psycho-emotional functions. Our genetic predisposition, our lifestyle, our age, and nutrition, our diet, these things influence these rhythmic patterns. So there is a great variation in individual chronotype among different cross-sections of the population. Every pattern established within a living organism is a function of homeostasis. Balance of mind and body is maintained in cycles that rise and fall like the sun and the moon, and fluctuate back and forth like the ebb and flow of the ocean's tide. Our energy levels, our mood, digestive function, memory, and hunger all express themselves with differences in terms of intensity and quality, but they tend to follow definite rhythmic patterns. 3 of these patterns or biological cycles have been definitely established. The first is known as circadian. These are 24-hour cycles or intervals. The next is ultradian. These rhythms are defined by cycles that occur in 20 hours or less. And the third rhythm is called infradian, and these are cycles that reoccur over periods in excess of 28 hours. Now, in the chronotype paradigm of body typing, 3 body types have been established. There is 1, the early bird type, 2, the night owl type, and 3, the neutral types. And essentially they are defined as follows. Early birds are physically and mentally alert in the morning. They find it difficult to stay up late, but in the morning they are energized and robust. Night owls, well, they're the opposite. They're slow to rise and function best in the afternoon and late evening. They like to sleep in and wake up slowly. They definitely perform better in the evening and tend to function well with peak metabolism in the later portion of the day. The third type are AC/DC, meaning they go both ways or they're split right down the middle. They seem to operate best in the middle of the day between extremes. At the upper and lower segment of the time spectrum when awake, they are not compromised in any specific way, but they tend to function best at peak level between early morning and late evening. Now, the idea here is to identify your natural inherent type and then correlate your type with the best time in terms of timing, when to train, when to run, when to swim, when to pump iron, when to stretch. So we've got cognitive rhythms, psychomotor rhythms, psycho-emotional rhythms, physiological rhythms. They're all tied into who and what you are. And they're regulated by cycles that are related to movements of the earth and patterns of movement that are directly related to the earth itself, the universe, and the cosmos. So everything that's real, all the atoms, all the elements, and the forces that regulate and control them, those are factors that impose by their nature, by the reality of their own existence. They impose forces on our bodies, and our bodies are stuck with the connection that we have to the earth that ultimately we evolved through and from and are attached to, whether we like it or not. Chronotyping is a great way of assessing yourself and your response to exercise. How do you feel? That's the emotions. How does the body adapt to the stress of the training itself? Aerobic exercise is definitely not the same as anaerobic exercise, and of course stretching is not the same as sprinting up a mountain. So our response to exercise helps us establish an ideal training time. Don't ignore who and what you are. Chronobiological science reminds us about our connection to the earth and our environment by providing evidence, and that's a key word. Everything is based on evidence, or it should be, otherwise it's still up in the air. Evidence of specific rhythms and patterns which flow throughout the mind and body. So you can ignore these rhythms, and a lot of people do, and you can resist for a while, maybe for the rest of your life. Like maybe you can work nights or shift work, and it will eventually take you down and destroy you because you're going against rhythms that have been established over millennium and millions of years. In the short term, we experience a sense of dominance. Humans like to dominate everybody and everything. We like our independence, we like to control our world, and ultimately we have to accept the fact that we don't have much control at all. So in the long run, resistance is futile. Like Bacon said, and I've said so many times, to command nature, we must obey her. First, identify who and what you are. Second, identify where you are. Identify your existence. And once you have identified who you are and what you are and where you are, then my advice is take it from there and use this science to improve your performance and your quality of life.